right. Welcome, Brittany. I'm so glad that you're here with me. It's very exciting to have you. And the goal today is we're going to talk a little bit about your background. And I want to hear kind of how you got started and essentially what you're doing now. And, like we talked about, I want you to remember too, that you and I are in a place in our businesses where many people in our group are thinking about being and they desire to be. And so this is a good conversation to really kick off this idea of how we get started and how we built what we've got and how we took an idea from concept to creation, really how you did that. So first start off, introduce yourself, tell us your name and a little bit more about your background, please.
Sure. So I am Brittany Kolb. I am a nurse anesthetist by background. I've been a CRNA now for 7 years. I graduated from Georgetown in 2013. And yeah, I've been a practicing CRNA working on outpatient surgery center in Richmond, Virginia. I have a husband and a kid.
Okay. And then what kind of business do you have in addition to your work as a CRNA?
Okay. So I have started a life and weight loss coaching practice that I do in addition to being a CRNA. And if you'd like to, I can get into that right now, how I kind of got that started. Yeah. So 2021 was like a transformational year for me for sure. A lot changed. I know a lot changed for a lot of different people. For me, I finally lost the weight that I had been dealing with for the majority of my life, but I did it in a way that I didn't even know existed because I used life and weight loss coaching tools in order to get me there. I used the power of my brain to get me where I wanted to be. And so when I did this work for myself, I was just so amazed and in such complete disbelief that I'm like, oh my gosh, I have been struggling with food and my relationship with food and my weight my entire life. And I don't have to anymore. And no one has to if they don't want to, which is just it was so compelling for me. I was like, I've got to figure out how I can teach this to other people. And so this summer, I signed up to do the coaching certification program through the Life Coach School. I became a certified life coach and and I'm focusing primarily on weight loss. And this fall, I started my business. I started my LLC and have been working with clients ever since last summer, helping them to end their battle with food and permanently lose the weight.
And who are your clients?
So the people I primarily work with are advanced practice nurses, as well as mothers, mostly. Those because I'm a mom and I'm an advanced practice nurse. And those are the people that I really want to be working with and really serving because I know what it's like to be really busy and to come home and not have an ounce of energy to try to prepare a healthy meal. And I know what it's like to be drawn to the candy drawer at work or whatever, the food rep brought in, or waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning and having to do a crash cranny and eating along the way just to try to stay awake. I know the struggles with that. And so those are the people I really want to help because I know how to help make this easy and sustainable for you and get you where you need to be. So, yeah.
So I want to understand a little bit more because think about it, right? Many of us go through an opportunity or some of us may go through and come upon these life-changing tools, which we use. Mm-hmm. Not everyone. And some of us will implement them. Some of us will implement them and actually go on and say, I want to provide the service to somebody else. So tell me a little bit more about why is this important to you? I know you get it and you get running, eating to just keep yourself awake, which I have done. I completely understand that from the on-call life, whether it was sitting in my car going home from being on call and shoving something in my face that I would literally not fall asleep on the way home from a 45-minute commute from Loyola University Medical Center back into where we lived. But why is this important? Beyond that?
Yeah. It's a really good question. So for me, I know what it's like to feel out of control around food. And I know like the shame that comes with that. And I know what the shame of like overeating and not feeling like, really not feeling like I have control over that aspect of my life. I know the shame of like not being comfortable in my own body. I know the discomfort of not really being committed to myself and not really having my own back. And I know like,
Wait, what do you mean? Like, give me an example. What do you mean?
not being committed to myself and not having my own back. Like any other time that I ever tried to lose weight, like the commitment was fleeting. It wasn't enough. It was like, I want to get there to like get to a number and then like get better. It's like, I never really committed to an overall change in my life. I committed to getting to a number and that was it. I never committed to doing something bigger, to actually changing my relationship with food, to actually changing my thought patterns around overeating, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
So like changing that commitment and changing the commitment that I really wanted. It wasn't just like, I just want to be this weight. It's like, no, really, I want to be the person that doesn't use food to feel better. I want to be the person that commits to doing something for herself out of complete love and adoration and having my own back, being like my own best friend. Like I didn't have any idea what any of that was like either. What was the original question? Was the why?
Yeah.
So
giving an example of what it means to have your own back.
yeah, like committing to myself no matter what, being like, no, this is what I said I was going to do. It's like the commitment that you make to like your kid. You're like, I'm not going to not pick you up from school today because I committed to picking you up because I'm your mom and I love you. It's like, why would you do that to yourself? You know, like, why would you not make the same commitments to yourself? And I feel like as a working mom, like we all do that. We all make commitments to everybody else. And we never make the commitments to ourselves to do the things that we really want for ourselves and do the things that are in our absolute best interest to guarantee our well-being and sanity and general health.
Go ahead.
So the why is really like, I know what it feels like. And I know also what it's like to be like, have a mom, be like, have a great home life, a great work life, but then being like totally out of control with my general health and food. Like, it's just so interesting. Like all of us advanced practice nurses, we're like, we have like our shit together. Like we're like type A, we know what we want. We busted through school. We did it all. But then like this one area of my life was always a struggle, was always a problem. And I was like, the why is like, it doesn't have to be a struggle. Like we can take care of this. Like you got your master's, you're a midwife, you're a nurse practitioner, you're a CRNA, like you did this, you crushed it, you're crushing your job, you're crushing your side business, whatever. You can crush this too. It's possible. That's my why. That's it. It's like, yes, it's amazing.
Tell me about the frosting.
Oh, all the frosting. I used to eat all the frosting.
I know, I saw your post up and I was like, I thought it was really interesting. Like frosting, like, we all like, I have chips, like I love chips, and so I was just thinking about, share if you would, like what frosting meant to you at one point.
Oh my gosh. Like, oh my, it's, bringing all this stuff up, like you remember a lot of like how it wasn't that long ago that I was like coming home from work and like, if there was a container of frosting in my refrigerator, I would eat it. I would eat like a quarter of that can in like 5 minutes without thinking. It should be gone. Rainbow chip, like frosting is really legit with the little chunks inside. So good. But that was me buffering away the stress of my day in anesthesia. Sometimes I'd come home in the morning, like after like a 24-hour call and just be like crushing this, like I'm done, But that was me buffering away
Tell people what buffering is, because they probably don't know.
Sure. So buffering is something in weight loss coaching, we do talk a good amount about this. It's something that you do to make a temporary, like a discomfort, like a negative emotion or a physical discomfort from a negative emotion, feel better in the moment because you're getting like a hit of dopamine, you're getting that temporary pleasure from that frosting, you're eating it in the moment. And for that moment, you feel better. That stress, that anxiety seems to have gone away. But the way you know you're buffering is if your net negative results are not what you really want them to be. So in this case, if you have stress, anxiety, whatever, and you're using food to make yourself feel better in the moment you feel better, but for the net negative of now you have like more weight on your body than you really want, right? And the problem, the stress, the anxiety is still really there. It's coming to get you. We haven't managed to mind around what was going on there either, right? So I would come home and buffer with food, frosting, all kinds of stuff, pizza, like chips. I think sweets are like huge for me, huge. So yeah.
So what did you, so this for you, it sounds like was a little bit about weight loss, like numbers on a scale. And it was also feeling in control around food.
Yeah. I think for me, it was really just not using food to make me feel better anymore. Not using food, learning how to feel my emotions instead of buffer them away, learning how to like live the entire human experience and accepting like part of the human experience is feeling negative emotions. But then in addition to that, like managing my mind around all the stuff that made me want to eat in the first place. Mm-hmm. Like all the things that made me stressed out, like a lot of that stuff is optional. A lot of that stuff I learned to coach myself through. Mm-hmm. And I told myself a lot of stories that made me want to eat a lot of food. Mm-hmm. And so really for me, it was, I think, the control around food. Also not having food like almost call to me. Like I remember being at dinner with my husband, and if there was like a piece of cheese left on a cheese board from a really nice restaurant, I'd be like, oh, you can't leave the cheese. No, you're kidding. Like you can't leave that. You're kidding. Like, and I would, even if I was like truly full, I would be like, nope, still gotta eat this cheese. We can't waste this food. Like issues around like food waste and scarcity and all kinds of stuff, like just being like, food is fuel. I wanted to feel better in my body. I wanted to feel more comfortable in my body. I wanted to be able to move well in my body, but I didn't want to have to look to food to make me feel better. I wanted to look at food as fuel for my body, and that's it. And sometimes joy, sometimes pleasure, sure, but not like reactionary pleasure. Not like
I feel like shit, so I'm gonna eat this food and feel better, which never happens.
Yeah. Right.
Despite the fact we tell ourselves.
Never happens. Exactly. That's the thing. It's like, oh, I feel so good right now. And then actually, wait, I don't feel good. Actually, now I feel like garbage.
Yeah.
Actually, now I just had half a Papa John's pizza and I feel like horrible. And I'm still
tell everybody about, so you started your business.
Yeah.
And have you ever had a side hustle in your, whatever you deem a side hustle to be? Have you ever had a side hustle before starting your business?
No, never.
Do you think you've been like an entrepreneur?
I think I've always known that I have wanted to do more. Mm-hmm. Like I've always known that there was more, because I have the best job. I have an amazing employer. I work with the greatest people. But being like 36 and being like, this is the best job. Like literally, this is the best job I could possibly get ever in Richmond, like by far, no doubt. I'm like, is this what I want for the next 30 years of my life? Going in, and it's great. I love it. I actually love what I do, but I'm like, I know there's more. I know there's more I can do. And like, so serving women in this way is just like the best. So fulfilling, so wonderful. I love showing people what's possible for them. It's fucking amazing.
What's the end goal for you in terms of your kind of, work as a CRNA and having a business and getting going?
And we have to coach on that some more. And my personal business coach, yes. What's so interesting is that your brain holds you back from what you really think is possible for yourself. And that's part of the reason why I'm working with you, because I know you're going to help me help me realize what's possible. It's amazing how much your brain can hold you back. Like when we first started working together, I had like one goal. And that was the goal I actually had for like the rest of my life. And I was like, oh, this is like, now I'm like, oh, what else is possible for me? Like, what's really possible for me? And so the short answer is I really don't know. But I'm excited to find out what is really possible for me. I love anesthesia. I love providing anesthesia. I have a great time doing it. I really, really do. I really love coaching women on this. I really, really love that too. So I think finding a balance would be really great. Because for me, and as we've talked about, I want to be responsible and be able to steward my time the way I want it. And doing things that are important to me, like helping women get to where they want to be with their weight loss, helping women get to where they want to be with their mind management. And so the closer I can get to that, I think the freedom of really whatever it is that I want, the better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like, what's your definition of living the good life?
That's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
Getting to do whatever, just freedom. To me, it's freedom. But that's the thing. That's so interesting because you don't even, like I said, you don't even know what's possible for you. And my idea of what the good life is, probably isn't even, we could probably do more. We could blow that out of the water. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I just want to go to San Diego twice a year. That's it. I mean, I don't know. Like, that's like, but it's like, but we could do more.
Well, and which is funny. We've coached on that. Yes, we can always do more, but I think that's the key, which I think is really interesting. And I think people in this group sometimes, right? Like I always am reminded that people look for this group and they come into this group because they very often they have some sort of a desire, which is usually either paying down their student loan debts, having some more autonomy or freedom, wanting maybe to consider a way out, right? Like a vehicle that would allow them to leave their current situation or circumstance, and create something new. And so I think it's always interesting because I think, living the good life, I think on the surface, it can be it's, $1 million in revenue and it's, a big team and it's a big business and it's a big every fucking thing. And I don't, at the end of the day, I think that the beauty is that really is determined by the individual. Right. And so, right, like my living the good life is working between the time that my children get on the bus to go to school and the time that they come home, and really not much more. Like I'm not, I did that for a long time and I'm not interested in doing it anymore. But I think that's kind of the just something to think about, which is interesting of like, what does the good life mean? Is it paying down the student loans? Is it having a dream kitchen? Is it, the beach condo with, that you go visit, every weekend or once a quarter or once a month with your family and have some alone, family time? I think that's for each one of us to decide.
Yeah, no, I think for me, my family is definitely number one. Like my job satisfaction when it comes to feeling like I'm doing something important and leaving my mark on this world is actually really important to me. And working with other people to reach a common goal is really important to me. My family is really important to me. And I think a good life would be like working Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, in between the time my kid goes to school and the time my kid comes home. Like that would be magic. That'd be insane. I haven't even thought about that, Anne. That's amazing.
Yeah, isn't it?
That'd be crucial. Oh my gosh, that'd be so cool. What a cool idea.
Yeah, that's the beauty of a vision too. I'm curious what, there are a lot of people that who are probably thinking about starting something, whether it's a business or a side hustle. What would you offer them in terms of advice on getting started? Because as you know, as both of us know, with the work that we do, which is helping people manage their brains to get the results that they desire, that sometimes, thoughts and feelings around fear and scarcity, like you said, come up. So what do you tell people who, thinking about taking a leap, whether it's with weight loss or whether it's with starting a business? Do you have any advice for them?
I think your brain wants to keep you in a cage. So anytime your brain offers you a reason not to do something, like know that it's just it's like, no, like you're safe here. This is safe. This nursing job is safe. Like you have benefits. And like, why? And it's not that bad. It's really not that bad. And maybe it could get better. Like your brain, you're scared. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to have fear. It's okay, but just know where it's coming from. Know that it's coming from the part of your brain that wants you to stay put, wants to keep you safe. Okay, like think about what you really want. Think about what you really want and like what you can do for other people, and try to make that your focus. Like try not to operate from a place of fear or ever, if you can. It's easier said than done, which is why I have you in. Operate from a place of very intentional, very deliberate thinking. So anytime your brain offers you that, like don't. And as far as getting started, like you really have to love what you do. Because when you first get started, it's going to be time out, unless you have like a husband that can allow you to stop working so you can like immediately jump into your side hustle. That's amazing. But like for me, as like the primary breadwinner, like I don't have the opportunity to just like stop working in anesthesia and start this business. Like, so I'm doing it, in the evenings. I'm doing it on my day off. I'm doing it and I love it. The thing is, I love it. You have to really love it. It's like, you've got to be passionate about it. You really got to like what you're doing and be grounded in your why. Because if you're not, you will burn out quickly. And I also think employing the help, and this is just like, truly, I do love working with you. And like, I think having someone to help guide you, like a mentor, a coach, absolutely crucial. Because I don't think I would even be where I am now if I didn't have someone to get me out of my own brain and show me.
I'm the same way. I agree with you 100%. I wouldn't have, we were talking earlier about, business revenue and stuff. I mean, there's always a balance of too much coaching, too much of other people's external inputs, versus your own, versus too little, and not having kind of that somebody who can really kind of point out like, your brain's in a shit place right now. And let's talk about what stories are serving us and what stories aren't, and what you want.
Here, what are the circumstances here? What's real?
Yeah, exactly.
Bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's the key, is that when you can have somebody who can help you see your own bullshit, it's so much easier to get where you want to go. I mean, we save time. I'm such a proponent of this. I mean, this is why I pay my one-to-one coach. I get to, see my brain. I get to, look into these little nooks and crannies and be like, oh, got it. That's where that's coming from, and take a peek at it with curiosity and love and compassion, and then figure out whether or not I'm going to choose to continue the story or, or keep down that path or change it up and try something different. So, and I think what you said too was that, managing your brain and knowing when it operates from a place of fear. And I think too, the other reality is like, you can either be, and I don't know if this resonates with you, but I think of just some of the things that I've done in my business. And I think that either I can sit on the sidelines and be scared and just be like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to say it right. I don't know what the right video is. I don't know, what the right way to do shit is. And so I'm not going to do anything, and I can be scared. Or I could be the person who's scared and does it anyways. I'm still feeling the emotion. I'm still going to be the person who experiences fear and terror and worry and uncertainty and all of that. And at the end of the day, I get to choose. Either I'm the person who feels that shit and does the thing, or I'm the person who just feels the thing, who just feels it. And then a year later looks back and says, oh man, I could have been in a totally different place now if I had been willing to not just feel it, but also feel it and do something. Like, it's kind of an interesting thing, right? Like, so at that end, I always think about that's an interesting one. Like, if you want to look back in a year, like, do you want to be scared and have a side hustle or a business, or do you just want to be scared? You're good because fear is coming. I mean, it's a normal part of the experience. Like, we all have a limbic system that manages, that provides us with thinking sometimes that comes from a place of fear and scarcity. Totally normal.
I have one other thought too. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
The other thing is, you don't be afraid to fail. Like, do not be afraid to fail. Like, failure is what moves you forward. And that's what we do. In weight loss coaching, we do that all the time. Like, you learn to fail forward. You make a mistake, you learn from it, you grow. Maybe you make the same mistake again. You learn from it again. You grow. You move forward. The next time, didn't make the same mistake. Like, I think Brooke had a podcast about failure, and like one of the entrepreneurs she interviewed was like, if I'm not failing 5 times a month, I'm not trying hard enough. Yeah, it's like, that's
absolutely. Yeah, like what if we went for
great. Fail, because oh my god, I can't even tell you how much I failed, you guys. Like, how much I have had to do things differently, change things up, try new things, like so much failure, and then so much growth and so much learning, and it's amazing.
Yeah. So, and who knows? Yeah, absolutely. And like, yes, you get to choose what your definition of failure is. Number one, you get to choose if you're going to fail forward, fail fast, fail often, and be someone who just commits to failing as a part of the process. And you get to choose. I have this on you get to just fail your way there.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Fail your way all the way there. Go ahead.
What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Like, you just get to learn. What, you humiliated? Like, I mean, I don't know. It's just super interesting. And I've always operated, I think here's the thing, like, advanced practice nurses, we get the A+, we study, it happens, it works, right? Like, you put in the work, you see the results. In a business, it's not often like that. You can put in the work, the results might not come for a minute. You can put in the work and maybe that wasn't the right work. Like, you can have an interaction with the client and maybe it wasn't the way, like, and it didn't work out or whatever. It's just a totally different thing. And I think that might be another reason why sometimes advanced practice nurses are like, it's so cut and dry. It's so easy to be like, oh, like, this is my road to a nurse practitioner, but the road to a business is a lot different, but it's still really fun and it's super exciting, and you should not do it, because if you can be an advanced practice registered nurse, you can.
I completely agree with you. I always laugh because I'm like, look, everybody in this like group is qualified because we've all got a MSN. And I think if you can sit for 3 years and go pay someone to give you a piece of paper at the end for, I don't know, 60 grand, 100 grand, however much it costs you, and you're willing, and not only do they just give you a piece of paper, but they tell you that you have to work for them for free, which is in essence what clinical hours are, in my opinion. I mean, it's like, doing some element of like, free work. And we're all like, sounds good. Sign me up. And then all of a sudden it comes to building a business. And then you're like, no, I'm not doing anything for free. And I'm not doing that side hustle unless it grosses me, 10 grand a month. Like, no, fuck no.
Yeah.
That's not how it goes. I mean,
Well, and the way we look at investing in ourselves too is so much different after we get out of school. It's so easy to pay university money for education.
yeah.
But then, you look at like life coach school training, which is like a semester of graduate school. And for some reason, like there's some hesitation there, but like there is going to be a level of investing in yourself and investing in your business that is going to be required, and you have to be really comfortable with it. Just like, but it's really no different than investing in graduate level education.
And there's no certainty, and there's no certainty too. I just might add, like, just because you graduate as a CRNA does not mean you're going to get employed. But there's no, like, I don't know. And I don't know, maybe that's not the case for everybody, but when I graduated, no one had a job waiting for me at the end of it. Like, I didn't have certainty that I was going to go and spend 3 years going to part-time school, working in L&D. And then somebody was going to just match, at the end of when they handed me my piece of paper saying I was a midwife, that they were also going to hand me an offer for a job for 100 grand a year. Like, no. There's no certainty. It's the same thing with business, but like still we invest a lot of money in our education, and we take out loans we get creative in terms of, because many of us don't have 60 grand laying around to pay in cash to a university. So we get creative about financing it. We go and take out loans, and then, still at the end, we're like, oh yeah, there's no certainty on getting a job. But many of us are like, oh yeah, but I'm going to be an advanced practice nurse. I'm going to be a midwife.
Or a job that you like too. And at the end of the day, it's like, well, this is what I thought I wanted to do. And like, then this practice isn't exactly what I wanted, and these patients aren't exactly what I wanted, super interesting.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Conversation.
Well, and that it would be fun. It wasn't going to be high pressured. I told you.
Guys, I was like gutturally like, oh, like this makes me nervous. I don't know why.
Just a conversation. I know we're good at having those. All right. Tell people how they can find you if they would like to, if they're interested in your services or they're interested in learning a little bit more about you. What's the best way?
Absolutely. So my, you can email me, weightlossbybrittany@gmail.com. I have Instagram, which is the same handle. I've got my Facebook business page, which is also Weight Loss by Brittany, where I actually have like a lot of videos and recipes and kind of just helpful, useful information on there. It's like super helpful for you. And my website is being built in February, so more to come on that.
Good. Okay. So an email at weightlossbybrittany@gmail.com or Instagram. They can find your Facebook page. Okay. Yeah. All right. Very good. Okay. All right. Anything else that you wanted to mention before we sign off?
Yeah, I mean, you can do anything. It's so cool. I swear to God, you can do anything.
Yeah. If you can go to an MSN, you can do anything.
Yeah. So don't let your brain hold you back. Do it. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Moral of the story. Don't let your brain hold you back. I think that might be the title of our episode. All right. Very good. Good to see you. I will see you next time. Thanks for your time. Yeah. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.